What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Wrenching Wrecked. This turd pile is just about done, so we get to move on to this 68 motor. I have no intention of keeping this right now. I don't have papers, unfortunately, but this is going to get posted up for sale. I got the Fairbanks Morse mag in here. It's all loose. It's missing a bunch of stuff, but we have a stock magneto, since those are my favorite now. And this motor that I kind of went through in the other video, digging through all the parts that I grabbed. So motor turns over good, stainless valves, little odds and ends, Allen bolts down here instead of studs. Well, there's a reason for that, which is hopefully what we're going to be digging into next. So that's what we're going to do. Start tearing apart a perfectly good, perfectly working, well, I don't know if it's working, but perfectly good motor, just so I can measure it out and mic it out and try and get some measurements so I can make an appropriate listing. Again, it's a 68. Title should have gone with the motor. I don't have papers. Doesn't mean it's not a good motor, and depending on where you live, if you got a sporty frame and want to drop in a go fast motor, this is the one for you, as long as you got papers with the frame. However that works. If you're in California, forget about it. Sorry. California does their own thing. I know they're crazy over there. But we're in the Midwest, and as long as there's a title and a plate, that's pretty much all that matters out this way. So I'm gonna run out real quick. I will be right back. When I get back from meeting a customer at the shop, we are gonna tear into this thing. I do have the push rod caps for this over there. Actually, I gotta grab a couple parts, and maybe I'll remember to grab the spark plug crimper for this as well. So let me run to the shop real quick. When I get back, we're gonna start blasting this apart. Not doing a full tear down on this because this is a brand new motor as far as I am concerned. We'll pull off the front head because it's the easiest one to put back on, and then I have new overbore copper gaskets, head gaskets for this as well. I got a whole pile of stuff for this motor at the shop. Upper motor mount and all the little odds and ends, chrome generator. I have the inner primary stuff. I have a spacer for a belt drive if you were so inclined to go that route, but this is exciting. I want to know what this time capsule is. We'll be back in a bit. Early style motor, no electric start, no hump for the electric start. Polished aluminum rear motor mount, vents, mag, all the other fun stuff. Push rods are in and adjusted, but we don't have the upper caps, which I forgot to bring back from the shop, along with the generator and all the other parts I needed. But I remembered the crimpers, so we can get the new wires made up for this bike. But that's different. Whole different project. Today, we are focused on this timepiece. So in the other video, I kind of went over some of this. I don't know how well this is going to show up since I don't have a ton of light down here, but strociek engineering, or strociek engine. It's got a 74 stamp here and redone by Cycle Engines Chicago 3, 1976. So as far as I'm aware, this is a time capsule of a motor. We'll take a closer look once we pop these heads off. That's quick and easy. Let me grab some tools. Throw you guys back up on the tripod here. We're gonna pop the heads off. I'm gonna leave the rocker gaskets together for now, but we'll pop the heads and then maybe pop the cylinder bolts. I don't know how far I'm gonna go yet. And then I gotta figure out a way to measure the stroke, because we need to know that. I can measure the bore, that's easy from the top, but I don't know what we're gonna do about the stroke part yet accurately. So let me grab some tools. So we get to mess around with this thing finally. I got this right before Christmas. I have not used it since. Finally have a reason to bust out the 3/8 drive. I will tell you right off the bat, first time actually cranking any bolts over on this. This is way stronger than the little impact driver. The only issue is it's a 3/8 drive, which means we need extensions. You can get a cheater on the other ones, but Come on. You're letting me down. Brand new Makita tools. Okay. She wants to struggle. There we go. Probably fighting a little bit of valve tension here. So, as far as I'm aware, my guesstimate is this is a 74 or just shy of a 74. Now, we broke free the two sides over there. Push rods are still in. These are definitely loaded right now, so we should probably rotate the motor over. But with the oil lines here, they're little rubber spigots on little barb fittings for the oil lines, which would make sense if this is a stroker, because stroker height means that the oil lines will not fit proper, like the factory repop ones. It's going to be a taller height on the stroke, which means the cylinders are a little bit taller. Stock oil lines won't necessarily clear that. So there is that. Just a little tidbit of information. Hopefully I'm not way too far off. Oil line is free on the bottom side of this. The push rods are floating. Bolts are out. Let's pop this off. Here's our head. Just hold that for right now. Man, look at those stainless valves. Ooh. See? Nice. Pretty. This is what I was more curious about. Let's look at these pistons. Not at all your V-twin repop version. So we'll pull the push rods real quick, just so we get them out of the way. There is not much cylinder wall meat here. Look at how sharp that edge is. Big notch across, and then all of this is rounded and radiused all the way around the outside. Do I have stock pistons here for an iron head? I do, but they're attached to the crank. That's fine. Just to compare them. Oh. Okay. So take a look at these pistons. Whoop, too close. Take a look at these pistons. Fully spun here, machined here for the valve clearance pockets, compared to a stock set of iron head pistons. Yeah. That looks way prettier. That looks way, way prettier. I've never messed around with hot rod performance bikes like this, so I built an 84 stroker shovel head. Still to this day, one of the fastest bikes I ever built. That was a blast, but nothing like this. So, stainless valves, as I said in the other video. You could see the back side of these. Let me set you guys down while I'm dropping bolts everywhere. Even from the back side, when the light catches it, you won't be able to see it right now, but I can see the radius, I can see the cutting that was done on the back side of these valves. I kind of really, really want to keep this motor. I don't know what I'm going to put it in or what I'm going to do with it yet, but there we go. Copper head gaskets, in terms of that, they kind of line up somewhat. Let's grab a screwdriver and scrape this up real quick. And I have a whole pack of these overbore ones that will fit on here. But same thing on the cylinders. Look at these. Razor sharp edge. There is not a lot of meat left on these. I do have a stock set of cylinders somewhere over here. Let's take a look. Look at all the meat on this to compare it. These are overboard, what do we do on here? This is a 30 overbore on a 1000cc jug. for comparison, but good amount of meat left up here on the bore itself compared to this. Longevity wise, probably not the best bet, but when you're building a what I expect to be a 74-inch stroker on an ironhead, there's not going to be a lot left. Let me figure out what we got to do to pop these lower cylinder bolts off next, and then we can start miking things out. So we are now on to regular Allen keys. Since there's not enough room to get a socket in here, but we'll at least pop the bores out, get these cylinders apart. And I know I didn't say it before, but clearly this is not a bike that's been fired. This is all brand new stuff. So we'll dig a little bit deeper. So we'll need to replace the base gasket and then a head gasket, which I was worried about until I found in the parts stash a bunch of extra parts to help with that. And the hardest one to get to that's the hard part. Broke the torque tension free. So now we'll keep going on this. And get them loose enough to rotate by hand. Wonder if I can get in there now with a ball end. Not ideal, but might work. Just enough to free them up. It's kind of working. So from here, it'll just be kind of a hand turn on the rest of this, since they are just bolts, not studs. Keep walking these out by hand. This is about as far as we're going to go with this too. So we'll pop this apart. I'll show you what the bore looks like. I'll grab the calipers out of the car. We'll take a look at that too, and just get a rough idea. But this is not your starter ironhead, that is for sure. Rotates over nice and easy, so piston just drop back down in the bore. These are Dr. Ditch cylinders, if you were wondering. I can show you the markings on that when we get to the other side. And I've seen some of the other pistons. Let me grab. It's gonna get really loud. I'm gonna grab the air hose and just blow out some of the crap that fell into this through the spark plug hole. Or you can just do that and shoot your air fittings across the garage. Okay, so bolts are free. We're gonna break the gasket, unfortunately, as much as I don't want to. Blow this off a little bit in between the cylinders too. Just try not to drop excess crap down here. There we go. Ooh, plastic plugs. Okay, so here's our cylinder. It's in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of surface rust down at the bottom. To me, that's not that big of a deal. One quick pass with a hone here should clean all of this up, but these are brand new, brand new. And the gasket stayed on and it stayed intact. So there's that. Set this over here on the end of the bench. I do need that piston plug though. S&S is on the 84 stroker I built. God, these pistons are crazy. S&S pistons typically run these little plugs, so instead of having circlips, you basically have the wrist pin that goes through the connecting rod, and then these little plugs sit in here to hold the wrist pin in place. So once the cylinder is pressed on, you are good to go. I don't know what these are, so we're going to pull this off too, just because it's all floating and I don't want to scratch anything. So a wrist pin will set in the head. Look at these pistons. Somebody school me if you know. These are repop. Okay, now I kind of understand what these are. We have 2 ring pistons, so we have a lower ring and an oiler slotted all the way around. So your oil ring-ish. It's a 1 ring compression piston. Machined all the way around. Huge cuts through here and along the face of the piston. These are Venolia. The Venolias, they will make you custom pistons as far as I am aware. Again, we are diving into an aspect that I'm not overly familiar with, so correct me if I'm wrong. But on these stampings, we have Venolia, who will cut you custom pistons, RT-1, and then an Alcoa at the bottom, stamped down there. These are 100% custom pistons, though. Look at those side profile cutaways compared to a stocker. Let's do this. Here's a stock piston. Fully machined. Huge cutaways on here. Whereas this would wrap all the way around. Then we got the little plugs for the side. Wrist pin fits. So that will all sit there. And now we are onto the crank. So let me pull the timer plug. I don't know, I thought when I rotated this over last time, I didn't see any flywheel markings. We're gonna try and see if we can find anything here. There's the rod numbers, 24296-52. I don't know if this is an aftermarket flywheel or if it's like the old, what is it, XLR or something. We'll figure that one out. That's where you phone a friend to get a little more information. Okay, so we got a slot here. We're at the bottom. It looks like the flywheel was just machined there for weight. Come on. Get it past the stroke. Use the gear. I have the nut for this too. I just forgot to grab it, but now we're coming down to the bottom of the stroke. Whew, it's a long stroke. Still going down. Okay, so now we're coming up on the front stroke here. We got another drilled mark here. Again, I'm assuming that's probably on the balance. Coming up. We have 1 dot here. One single dot. Just trying to see what these timing marks are. I'm literally looking with you guys, so bear with me here. Where's TDC? It's got to be getting close. There's another grind mark on the weights. Second dot. I think that one's TDC. So we only have 2 dots on this flywheel. It's so hard turning this. Let me grab a glove. Sprocket teeth are not unsharp. Go a little bit further here. That's all I got. I got 2 dots for timing. Compression's still good. since that just sucked this down. All right, so we're coming up to TDC now. I'm guessing that second dot is the TDC mark. There's no lines or anything. I was really hoping to find some stamps on this flywheel. If you look down in here, everything down in here still looks brand new. Rotate this around. Man, look at that. I have no cylinders, no spark plugs. Just rotating this over. And the natural desire to return is good. So, let's bring this down into the stroke. All the way down. Come on, a little more, a little more. All right, now we're past the bottom of the flywheel rotation. Oh, this thing just wants to fight me. Look at that. That's a healthy motor. Now we're past the stroke. So we'll bring this around again. So drill mark for the flywheel balance. Right there. Mark 1. That's after. So let's bring it back. Alright, so I get one timing mark right there. That's before top dead center. I don't know what the actual marking is here. Is that rear TDC? Maybe. This is past my area of expertise. I gotta figure out a way to measure the stroke on this, but so far, this is 100% a hot rodded motor. You don't get pistons like this in a factory freshened up rebuild. You just don't. 2-ring setup. Giant notches down here around the wrist pins, tons of oil holes through here, stainless valves. I don't know, we're gonna dig a little bit deeper onto this one. Really, that's about as far as I wanted to go, genuinely. I don't want to tear into this like crazy, only because somebody spent the time and the money and the effort and the energy to assemble all of this. I gotta grab the micrometers tomorrow. I'll grab a crappy one that I think I left in my station wagon, and we'll mic these out. But it's a very, very thin bore. When you look down from the top here, Dr. Ditch cylinders, stainless valves. These are all ported, polished on the back sides. This is one of those weird motors where I might actually bring it over to the indie shop and have him give this a quick once over. He has much better measuring tools than I do. We can get a little bit more accurate of an assessment of what's going on with this. And then we'll come back. I don't know if I will be filming anything if we do make it over there, but I value their opinion. I might pull the rear too and then just sell them together. But this is all going to be up for sale soon. I'm just trying to give you guys more information because this is a cool little time capsule piece to get a bike stamped, rebuilt in March of '76 that's never been fired. You don't run into that every day. So, long-winded rant. It's a little bit different than anything else we've been doing. I got the spark plug crimpers for this. Still messing around with trying to get this one dialed in. But I don't really care about that right now. We're more focused on things like this. This is way more fun. I'm learning. Load me up in the comments if you know anything more on how to build a 74-inch ironhead on a 900cc motor. Let me know. I love learning about this stuff, so keep me posted. We will catch you guys on the next one.